All right. Oh, gosh. Don't fear the unknown. Okay, family. Holy moly. Be without malice is underneath the deck, and that's interesting. I don't know why I checked the bottom. I don't typically do that. I do, but I don't really feel a need to, I guess, implement that too much because it's an oracle deck. But interesting. Every message is an important message, isn't it? So, very interesting. So, already what I'm getting the concept of is that there's definitely a change of perspective that's needed here. And the part that's a bit of a hang up is that this change of perspective, I think, is something that you get. This perspective that you guys are looking at needs, that you guys needed time to really understand thoroughly. I kind of get the sense that the only problem is now, surrendering to that is the hard part. Embracing that new perspective is the hard part. I think you guys already know what the changes need to be made. You guys already know what changes need to be made, what things need to be adjusted, what stuff, needs to be, rearranged. So way of seeing something needs to be readjusted. But even embracing that kind of adjustment is still very difficult to do. Mostly because you don't really know how the turnout's going to be if you embrace that sort of perspective. You just know that where you are now, what you're doing, how you see things, how you believe things, is not conducive to what you're trying to do in your life. Now, the reason why I say that is because do not fear the unknown is really what it means. Don't let the unknown get you down or get you to, get you back up. The unknown is nothing more than just a blank canvas for you to create what you want. But that may be, with the perspective changing here that the hangman can suggest, or the alteration in one's points of view, it can make the unknown a little more, makes that white canvas a little bit more sketchy because you don't know what paint to use, you don't know what you're going to go into it with, but it's a blank canvas. It's whatever it is what you want to use, you just figure out how that works out. And a lot of times, especially considering that we don't like to go through that trial and error to figure out how things work and how things don't, it can be kind of scary to kind of figure out what the outcome could be in our head. That's why it's so important to never live in the future, live in our minds, but to live in the present, okay? So do not fear the unknown. Do not let fear corrupt your judgment or make you think that something's not going to work out, because the unknown is the unknown for a reason. You don't know. The unknown, it doesn't have any sort of data, so you can't utilize estimations. Not really. You can estimate all you want to, but until you do it, it's not, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't until you know the information, until you don't do things that require some sort of data to be made. You don't know. Okay, so be careful of letting the unknown make you fearful. Okay. Now, in the past, you had the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles usually talks about juggling two pentacles. Juggling two ideas or two options that are both great in value, but which, of course, the biggest kicker with the Two of Pentacles is about figuring out which of the two coins are of value to you. Because you can have two coins here that mean something, right? They're cool. But until they mean something to you, they're pretty much pointless. So I feel like for you guys in the past year, there was a lot of trying to keep up, things, trying to keep things in order, keep things balanced out. And I think at the same time that, that balancing things out was really just kind of like a stand-in for you guys to figure out what you guys wanted to do. So very interesting, because Taurus had this card here, and then Aries had the Six of Swords here, I believe. I think it was Aries. I don't want to, hopefully it's not Taurus as well. But the thing is that, there was a little bit of distraction mode here with other things that, of course, did need to be taken care of, that did require responsibility and stuff like that. But it was a distracting tactic to keep you from basically making the decision that was that can be kind of hard to make, because you don't really know how either one of these are going to turn out, right? There are real options. There are options that does affect your physical day-to-day life. However, how they're going to turn out you don't really know. So I feel like in the past year you ended up coming up with that decision, right? You end up coming up with a decision. Yes, putting aside the things that you're juggling, and that's where the adjusting, the changes are coming in at this moment. No, surrendering to a certain perspective, realizing what doesn't work for you, seeing things from a different side or a different point of view, and embracing that point of view to be able to release it now. The same time, I kind of feel like for a lot of you guys, there was distractions here, period. There may not have been a decision made, which is why death is coming up, because you're realizing something is not working now. Some things are not serving you. That, I think, this distracted period, in a way, was a way for you to look at a situation to see what you needed to see to be able to make space for something new to come into your life. Like, again, you're not doing anything to bring something new in. I shouldn't say that. You're not actively bringing something new in. You're clearing space for something new to come in. So for when you're ready to make the decision to start something, you have the space to do it. And it comes from releasing either an old way of seeing something, an old behavior pattern, an old belief system, old resentments, anger, frustration from the past, old exes, whatever this is that's kind of made it hard for new things to come into your life. You're cleaning that. You're sweeping the floor. You're done with it. You know what I mean? You're putting it in the dustbin. You're throwing it in the trash. You're done with it. Or you're trying to be. But the thing is that this kind of perspective and way of being has kept you safe. It's kept things stable for you. It's a way that's kind of held you down for a while. So it's kind of hard to kind of go and change something that's kind of made your life a lot easier. But it's also put your life on a standstill, and it no longer serves. So it's like noticing what does not serve you, and the hard part is the changes. Not just to let that go, but to embrace something unknown. Okay? Because the Chariot's coming up in the future. I think you're going to be freaking great with it. Whatever comes in, you're going to work with it. You're going to feel very much in control. You know you're going to be in control of it, because no matter what comes in, you guys are going to be able to handle it, because you see the situation as something that you can handle. But right now, it's really just like, oh my goodness, if I let this go, if I change this up, how is this going to work? How is this going to be? How is my life going to turn out? How is this relationship going to be okay? How am I going to be okay in this relationship? Is that other person going to be okay in the relationship? Don't worry. Everything will, you will figure things out as you go along. Don't let the possibilities keep you from changing or adjusting to the changes. What's interesting is that your best path to follow is the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands usually talks about, a spark of passion, that a little bit of fun and excitement. So I feel like for some of you guys, you may have been either focusing a lot on work, focusing a lot on the practical things, really trying to kind of get your responsibilities handled out. But that, in a sense, was neglecting a lot of your other needs, which may have to do a lot with why there's a lot of things that are coming into play with changing your perspective and changing the way you see things and changing what you do based off of your belief system and how you see things. Because maybe there's a certain perspective, maybe, and it's really weird, and hear me out, maybe there's been a lot of people or feedback from someone or people or someone else or whatever, whoever you're dealing with, that's saying maybe that, your stress is spilling out and projecting itself onto other folks. That's just an example. That would call for you to acknowledge what's going on emotionally instead of using work to distract yourself from what's causing you that grief in the first place, to make you do that work. So I feel like death is actually clearing away what you're doing as a distraction to keep you from looking at why you feel a certain way. Which is, again, the unknown really can also indicate, fearing, drowning in your emotions. Okay. Now, Earth signs, you guys are known for kind of putting your emotions and your feelings on the back burner and handling things that are important or intangible here and now. But until you guys focus on your emotions, those problems are never really going to truly be situated or solved, because they're not being done in a manner that is, it's not being done in the sense of like, in a way that's conductive and conducive to being effective, if that makes sense. Oh God, hopefully I made sense there. It's just not effective, okay? It won't be effective until you look at why you're doing them, or what you need personally for yourself. To handle yourself, you can honestly hash out what these situations are, really create some effective balance. But until then, if you're using it as a distraction, are you really, able to effectively change or to adjust or to provide stability and structure to these issues? Probably not, because you're using these problems as a way to just kind of take a break from what you've been feeling. And I feel like the biggest thing is that these distractions are no longer working, which is why this is why you're having to look at your emotions. And it's hard to do, especially if they're hurtful things, especially things from the past that you haven't been able to let go of. Because the cards that are indicating that there's a lot of pain, resentment, or otherwise, is death and the Six of Swords. And the Page of Wands is asking you to take this moment to not only express yourself, express those emotions, to just be real with yourself in the moment and be like, hey, you know what? I'm still pissed off, and the reason why, and et cetera, and looking at what's going on and what's bugging you. And it's also having a little more fun. No longer drowning yourself in work to cover up what you're not trying to look at emotionally. Because that will give you the control that the Chariot is suggesting here. That's what's going to help you, make you feel more empowered, make you feel like you're balancing your situation a lot better, a lot effectively and efficiently, because you're no longer using these issues to keep you grounded. You're now allowing your emotional self to express, to be open, to be human, to allow yourself to be human, and allow yourself to just address what's been bugging you, so you guys can really come up with some efficient ways to handle the situation that's come up, as well as feeling more empowered and feeling less stressed out. Okay, so I really feel like this is like a balance for everything. Work, play, time for yourself, finding a good balance. But it comes from removing the things that are no longer able to help you in any way. Ignore what those emotions are trying to say, okay? And emotions are trying to express. Right? Now, at the same time, the unknown doesn't have to be emotions. It could just be that there is a distraction, like you're distracting yourself from making a decision that you don't know the outcome from. And the Page of Wands is saying, just, don't, instead of looking at what the possibilities could do, the wrong things, what could go wrong, or even just what could go right, allow yourself to just figure out what you want to do and go for it. Take the steps and just go for it. Don't worry about overthinking it or making sure it's the right decision, because any decision, as long as you put your heart and soul into it, can be the right decision. It can turn out beautifully and successfully, but it requires you to just pick something and go with it. But it's interesting that the Page of Wands comes up like that, because that's a card of fun. That's a card of being child, tapping into your youthful energy. Okay? And death is letting something go, moving on, leaving something behind, and allowing and making space for something new to come in, like the Six of Swords would suggest. Six of Swords and this Death card are actually, in my opinion, are pretty much the same card. The only difference is that Death is on an extreme note, where it's kind of like it's affecting your day-to-day life in such a really big way that there's nothing really to do other than to release what's been keeping you from being able to allow new things to come in. Whatever, to clean the area that new things can pretty much, take up the space of, that will actually make you happy, versus what's been kept keeping itself there. Yes, may have worked for a while, but no longer serving you in the way that you want it to serve you. So the Six of Swords is about moving on to new pastures and being, finding a better environment, a better path in life. The Six of Swords can also indicate, like I said, leaving the past behind, moving on, no longer letting the past predict or tell you how things are going to be. And that can be kind of scary, because if you're literally moving on from the old, where things were predictable, yeah, it's gonna put you in a position where you're gonna experience some new stuff. You're gonna be put in a situation where you're gonna see some things from a new perspective, and you're going to have to, figure out what you're gonna do with those new things. But I don't think it's a fearful thing. It's also something to look forward to. It can be, like I said, with Taurus, I think, or it was the Aries. It's always, I can't remember which one it was, but it's something to look forward to. But the part that's biggest with the Six of Wands Six of Swords rather, is the leaving it behind part. Growing from that situation, expanding your horizons. Now, your hopes and fears is the Three of Wands, and I feel like you guys hope for what you guys have, been manifesting, whatever it is that you've been expecting, and whatever you've been putting your hard work towards. I feel like you guys really hope to see that come in. I think you guys are either waiting for something to come into, that like I said, you've been putting hard work into. I think the fear is that you kind of, you're just going to be sitting there left waiting forever. But the biggest thing is that in order for there to be the return of what you want, it has to be work done in the meantime, which is pretty much focusing on yourself, learning and looking at what needs to be forgiven, what needs to be moved on from, what resentments may or may not be serving you anymore, or what situations, what patterns, what behaviors, what lifestyles, what kind of structure you have, what that situation is doing for you, and how that's going to help manifest things that you want into your life. There's always something that you can do here with the Three of Wands instead of just waiting. And I feel like what you guys want is success, is you want, to feel more empowered and feel more strong. But it starts by leaving behind the things that no longer serve. Okay? Now, what's interesting is that your outcome is the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is talking about knowing, it's all about, the worries, the doubts, and the stresses. That's not a word, but I think it's funny to say. All the stress that's on your mind. All the things that are conjured from your mind, from the stuff that you've been through, that's even developed and even created all these stresses and doubts. That's what you're cleaning. That's what you're clearing the air of. That's what you're seeing a different perspective of. You're having more hope here. Page of Swords. Getting more information. And now I think you guys have gotten more information to now be able to leave behind an old perspective, surrender that old way of thinking, and embrace a new way. So that success can come to you because you are moved on from whatever the stress was from the past, or the stress was, whatever this has caused the stress. Forgive it, move on from it, leave it in the past, and travel to something new, to embrace a new way of being. The unknown is, like I said, a canvas to create whatever you want. And instead of seeing it as something that's scary, see it as an opportunity for you to be the person that you want to be, or to have the relationship that you want to have. It's a hard one, especially if if you feel like it's been saving your life. This now is not. Now it's just fulfilling you. So you guys have surrendered your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. I believe it. Yeah. That's literally what we were just talking about. Do not fear the unknown and surrender your belief in scarcity are very similar in the sense of, not letting yourself limit the possibilities of success based off what you know, based off of what you've been doing forever, because that is not going to get you to success. You're always going to have to change some stuff up, and this is the time. This is the situation to do that.